In my last video, I spoke about CV creation and I mentioned transferable skills. Now, in this video, I'm going to share with you maybe 6 or 7 transferable skills to be a software developer, because that's currently the role that I work as. If you are somebody like myself who has done a career switch, you are considering transitioning, this content may be useful for you. Hello, my name is Laifa. Welcome to La La Land. I really struggled with the term transferable skills because whenever people would say that, I'd be like, what does that even mean? So let's get into it. Problem solving, which is a big core. When you think about coding, programming, it's all about problem solving. If you currently work in retail, think about the times when you've had to solve a customer's issues, and you need to be able to communicate that in your CV, or if you're at interview stage, how you solved those issues using the STAR method. Now, if you do not know what the STAR method is, I'm not going to talk about that in this video, but I will be referring to it a lot. I might leave it down below or somewhere in the description box or somewhere in this video so you are aware of what the STAR method is, but it's a good way to answer questions during interview stage. You can just Google it. If you currently work in admin, for example, fixing processes and errors, that's part of problem solving. Even generally in life, maybe you are a mother, a caregiver, getting through those struggles, those processes. How did you solve those issues? If you've ever dealt with a difficult situation, right, and you've solved that problem, you've done problem solving, okay? The second transferable skill is analytical thinking and analytical mindset. Developers typically break down problems into steps, algorithms. I know we've heard that term a lot, but an algorithm is literally just steps, processes. Have you ever had to work in Excel? Data entry, any jobs that involve patterns and processes, that is analytical thinking. I'll give you an example of like teaching. Maybe you've had to deal with a student that may be challenging or not necessarily challenging. Maybe they have struggled to take in a particular type of information, and that might be due to their learning style. Maybe they are neurodivergent, but it has not been detected, or it has not been diagnosed, but you've now found another learning method for them so that they can retain information. And what were the steps that you did to achieve that? That's the steps, that's the algorithm. Keep in mind that developers don't just code, they analyze problems before even writing a single line of code down. So in your CV, an example of this could be you've analyzed a specific type of data, identified the patterns to improve a work process, and it improved the efficiency of that workflow, right? With the customer service one, I might say something like this: resolved customers' issues by identifying root causes and implemented effective solutions. Communication is the next one. Now, this is so underrated. If you can explain something clearly to a set of people or an individual, you're already ahead of a lot of developers. So, for example, you might write communicated complex information clearly to customers and team members. The next transferable skill is collaboration, teamwork. Now, a lot of technical teams, they work in an agile environment. It's a fast-paced environment, and it involves a lot of communication, a lot of teamwork, a lot of group projects. A key example, like especially if you're a student, is group projects, retail teams. Your example could be you've collaborated in teams across multiple departments to achieve a shared goal. You have to be adaptable. You have to be able to learn fast, especially if you are dealing with stuff like software, because it's ever changing. Technology is moving faster than we can think nowadays, I guess. Tech changes all the time. You need to learn new frameworks, tools, languages. So an example of this transferable skill could be learning new systems at work. That's a great example of adaptability. A key one, oh my goodness, this one, attention to detail. And I feel like this lines up really well with analytical thinking. You have to be analytical in your thinking, in your process, but are you paying attention to the small things? There are so many errors that can be picked up and created when you're writing code. You could have a bug, and sometimes a bug could simply be a typo, something spelled incorrectly, calling one function when you meant to call a different function. So you need to think about how you maintained high accuracy, attention to detail when handling different tasks such as data, right? Now, the final one I'm going to mention is time management. There are so many deadlines, especially when you're working in sprints. Managing your workload, because sometimes, depending on the role, you might not be contracting or consulting, but if you're working and you are a permanent member of staff, you might have multiple tasks that you have to juggle at the same time. And how do you prioritize your workload? So I hope these 7 transferable skills have been helpful. Of course, there are many more. And if you have any other suggestions, please do comment the transferable skills that you have on your CV, or that you might want to share, or maybe something that I haven't mentioned or that you think that others should consider. Remember that you don't lack the experience. You just haven't translated those transferable skills into this potential new tech role, okay? I might do one more transferable skill, maybe on something less technical, maybe like business analyst, for example. Now, I'm not a business analyst, but I have worked in that capacity, so I might share a bit of that as well. Do let me know, and until the next one, bye. Do the right thing. Comment, like, subscribe. Okay, bye.